Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nemeko Kodri. This is a continuation of the current saga going on in Enugu State, where a contractor is alleged to have collected 5.6 billion to do 22 smart city project advance payments, built to some certain extent and abandoned the project. And of course, the contractor has done a video skit where he narrated clearly that the amount of money was not supposed to be enough, and how they promised to give him extra contracts, extra jobs on other projects to enable him make up for the deficit that was anticipated from the contract. And like I said clearly, and I also would repeat it again, that to do a smart school, a decent average smart school, with all the building, the facilities and infrastructure in place, will take nothing less than $750 to $1.5 billion. Fact check me on this. That's between 1.149 billion to 2.3 billion. So the kind of smart school Enugu State government is doing with 500 million is what I don't understand. And again, do we need 222 smart schools in the state when we can actually do the same thing that is very easy? Hand over the school to the missions, rebuild the dilapidated infrastructure that is already existing, and then bring the facilities that are needed, and then bring in the right training aids and improve quality of teachers in those schools, and the education quality level will improve. Because we also know that even these 22 smart schools, what of the idea of maintaining it? We don't have public sector maintenance. Anyway, let me not digress. Anyway, the same contractor, we also read from Nairametrics, it was partnering with the Enugu State government to do 30,000 hectares of rice farm. And you all also know that Enugu State, by reason of their land mass, there's no community in Enugu State that can easily gouge out 2,000 hectares of land. You know, when I hear this kind of thing, oh, they want to fight food security, government is importing tractors, government is dashing out fertilizers, government is dashing out palm trees, I laugh. That was not how Michael Okpara created 214-kilometer agro-industrial belt. And I remember then when WIMA Malaysia and the PZ were trying to set up a consortium, WIMA Malaysia, a PZ consortium, to enable them develop palm trees, produce palm oil that PZ will use in their manufacturing process. First of all, they came to the southeast before they now went to Calabar, Cross River, and Akwa Ibom. And you go and look at the model they adopted. The communities were involved. You cannot come to community and take their land to go and do some private sector project. But it's not the Land Use Act. You can only take community land for overriding public interest, like building schools, like building hospitals. If you want to use it for private sector agro development, the community must be involved. You know, I shared with this same Enugu State government a decent proposal of how these things have been done in other clients, from Malaysia to Indonesia, even to Italy, under the Copado model for tomato value chain production. And I told them, I said, Enugu State has about 266 electoral wards. And I said to them, if you want to develop agro value chain, all you need to do is involve the communities, involve the town unions. If P2B will have done the same thing, get them to be involved. Set up. There are private sector agripreneurs, agro companies, from Sefapco to Bazaar Agro Services to Alarm to Wema, people that understand this business. All that they need to do is, in every community, in each of the 266 electoral wards, made up of different committees, get them to, they will donate their land. It is their land. Their land is their equity contribution. If, for example, you want to do, I give example, I said, in Nigeria today, we have palm oil, crude palm oil, domestic supply deficit of about 1.4 million tons. That will require 500 to 700,000 hectares of new super tenara palm plantation. That will require, that is about 90 to 120 million tenara palm trees to execute. That would require setting up about 1,680 cottage factories. I shared with them the same proposals on even this rice value chain, on cocoa value chain, on palm value chain, on cashew value chain. And Enugu is a very rich state in terms of agriculture, and how they can do it. Very simple. Community, they do about 200 hectares. It's their land. You're not taking it away from them. Set up an SPV, special purpose vehicle, that like a cooperative owned by the private sector participator that you're trying to bring in, and the community and local government. How does this pan out? The land is the community. The SPV, the certificate of incorporation of that SPV of the land, the CFO on the land is given to the SPV, and the SPV is owned by the community leadership, to the town union leadership, by local government, and by the private sector participator who is bringing in capital. You value the land of the community. What is the role of local government? Drill industrial borehole within that location. Provide security. The role of the private sector is the one that will bring in the tractors, the bulldozers, and the equipment. The role of the community is to bring their own children, donate their own sons and daughters to work there. You can parcellate the land. If you want to do 200 hectares of tenera palm plantation, 200 hectares of the tenera palm plantation in each of the 226 local 266 electoral ward will give you almost about 50,000, 52,000 hectares of new tenera palm plantation. From every hectare alone, you will make about 7.5 million just doing the fresh fruit bunch. Just use your calculator and press it. The job of the private sector investor is to work with the community. They will clear the land. They will allocate each of the hectares to the community people. Each hectare, one person from each community. We have 200 people participating in every community. Of course, these are 200 directly created millionaire agripreneurs. Then those that work in that farm and everything. It is the private sector that will bring out the special species of the tenera. They will plant it, they will intercrop it with other things that can give them ready cash while they are waiting. Those people will be receiving monthly stipend that will enable them to remain in business. Of course, there is economy of scale, synergy, processing plant, storage and packaging will be in a location. Beautifully done, the way it is done in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Italy for the tomato value chain. When you do it for rice, you do the same thing. For cocoa, you do the same thing. Let me tell you, from the palm value chain alone, you have at least 52,000 hectares of new palm plantation. Trained agronomists will train those communities, train them on modern agriculture. We can also do smart farmhouses in those locations. Basically, what it will do is that there's transparency, the land of the community is not being taken, things that impact assessment is measured accurately. In the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, there's no community in Enugu State. There's no ward in Enugu State that will not generate at least between 2 to 5 billion naira revenue annually. Close your eyes, imagine 200 direct jobs in each of the 266 electoral ward. But you see what they do, they buy fertilizer. How much they even buy the bags of fertilizer? We bought tractors. What was the cost of those tractors? They think we are fools. The same place they are buying their tractors, the same place we are buying our own tractors. We know how much they quoted for their own tractors. We know how much we bought our own tractors. You know, when government decide to play this kind of funny games, they do it because most of us are ignorant. There's no amount of propaganda, all this Ghaghaghaness that will deceive some of us who are very, very smart. If we want to build the agro sector in short, there's no governor in Nigeria today. There's no state in Nigeria today that cannot easily generate between $1 to $5 billion annually through the agro value chain. We will show them how to do it, when to do it, how to fund it, where resources will come under a missions, community, diaspora, private, public partnership arrangement is very transparent. But this arrangement will not allow them to overinflate cost of bringing tractors, cost of buying fertilizers, cost of even giving the seedlings to the communities. The same madness we are repeating from Anambra to Enugu was done in Imo under Rochas Okorocha, which has gave out 1 million palm trees under the arrangement of Ekolanko in Imo State. Rochas gave out 1 million naira to 305 people in the 305 electoral wards in Imo State under the same arrangement. Rochas gave out 100,000 in each of the polling booths in the south in Alibo. Almost Imo State, almost about 4,000. At the end of the day, please go to any of the communities in the Imo State and show me where the Ekolanko had effect or any result of that Ekolanko. Billions of naira wasted on public sector propaganda and awareness. They are repeating the same thing from Anambra to Enugu to others. They are repeating the same propaganda, the same game. You do the same thing over. That is not how Michael Okpara developed the 214-kilometer agro-industrial belt that we have in the south, old eastern region today. Go, you will still see his landmark from Irei, cattle settlement, to London palm settlement, to even the abandoned project. Go and check from the 6,000 hectares lattice rubber plantation in Niger to the cocoa plantation. Go and check everywhere. You will see Michael Okpara's footprints. All we have today in Nigeria, we have governors who are busy doing awareness, busy doing propaganda. Any project that is not transparent, that is not accounted, that is transparent accounted, they will not do it. They will only do projects that will enable them to overinflate things and they cream out money and then share out without even bothering themselves to know what are the overall sustainable impact on the life and welfare of the people. God have mercy on us.